Has your feline friend been acting a little, well, off lately? Maybe the king or queen of zoomies is suddenly MIA under the sofa.
Yeah, hiding out.
Or their relationship with their food bowl has taken a strange turn, either like ignoring it completely or demanding constant refills.
Those appetite changes are a big one.
Today, we're going way beyond the purrs and head scratches. We're diving deep into the emotional world of cats, specifically what happens when they're feeling stressed or, something that looks a whole lot like the feline version of the blues.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because we all know our cats have these incredible personalities.
Totally.
One minute they're majestic hunters, the next they're like kneading dough on your favorite sweater.
Right.
And just like us, those personalities come with a whole spectrum of moods. They're not these stoic, emotionless creatures. They definitely have good days filled with playful pounces and, well, bad days where they seem a bit deflated.
Exactly. We've all had those days where even the thought of getting off the couch feels like a marathon, right? But what happens when our feline buddies seem kind of stuck in a prolonged state of...
Yeah, when it's more than just an off day.
Our mission today is to really unpack what those telltale signs are. The clues that suggest our cats are experiencing more than just a momentary grumpy mood.
Okay.
We'll also explore the surprising range of things that can actually cause these feelings. And, most importantly, arm you with practical, sort of vet-informed ways to help them rediscover their inner purr machine.
Good plan.
Think of this as your express ticket to understanding the veterinary perspective on feline emotional well-being without needing a medical degree.
And that's important because while we might use terms like stress and low mood, maybe even depression, colloquially,
Right.
It's important to remember that the feline experience isn't a direct mirror of human clinical depression.
Okay.
However, the observable behaviors and the impact on their happiness are very real, and understanding them can make a huge difference in our cats' lives.
Okay, so let's put on our detective hats then. What are some of those key clues that our cats might not be feeling their usual fantastic selves? Because, let's be honest, they're not exactly going to book a therapy session.
Precisely. We need to become experts in interpreting their subtle shifts. One of the first things you might notice is a real downturn in their playfulness.
Yeah.
Remember that toy they used to attack with the ferocity of a tiny tiger?
Yeah, the laser pointer fiend.
Exactly. If it's suddenly gathering dust, that's a potential sign. It's like their inner kitten has taken a vacation.
Like their favorite feathered toy has lost all its allure. That's a classic sign, isn't it?
It really is. And along with this drop in enthusiasm for playtime, you might see them becoming much more withdrawn.
Okay, hiding more.
Yes, exactly. That cat who usually greets you with a cheerful meow at the door or enjoys a cuddle session might start becoming a master of disguise, hiding away more than usual. And generally being less interested in interacting with you or, other pets in the house, they might suddenly prefer the solitary life, even if they were once the social butterfly of the household.
It's like they've decided they need some serious alone time, but it's like beyond their usual preference.
Right. It's a distinct change from their norm.
What about their sleep habits?
Yeah.
I mean, cats are professional nappers, right? It seems hard to tell.
They are Olympic-level nappers, but significant deviations from their norm can be a red flag.
Okay, like what?
Well, this could mean they're suddenly sleeping way more than their already impressive average, almost like they're trying to escape the world. Or, on the flip side, you might notice them being restless, unable to settle down and get comfortable even when they seem exhausted. That underlying tension can really disrupt their sleep.
So either hitting the snooze button on life constantly or kind of tossing and turning all night. Got it.
Yeah, either extreme.
Now, cats have a whole symphony of meows and other sounds. Do those change when they're feeling off?
They absolutely can. Some stressed or unhappy cats might actually become more vocal.
Really?
Yeah, with increased meowing, sometimes sounding more insistent, or even developing an unusual yowl. It might even sound different, longer, and lower pitched than their usual chatty greetings.
Interesting.
Conversely, a cat who normally has a lot to say might suddenly go unusually quiet, almost like they've lost their voice.
So either turning up the volume to 11 or going completely silent. That's a pretty wide range.
It is. It depends on the cat's individual personality and how they express distress.
Now, when it comes to looking their best, cats are usually meticulous groomers. Does their self-care routine change when they're not feeling top-notch?
It's a very telling sign, actually. A cat who's feeling down might neglect their grooming,
Okay.
leading to a coat that looks dull, matted, or generally unkempt, like they've just given up on their spa day.
Right.
But it can also go in the opposite direction. Some anxious cats will overgroom, obsessively licking certain spots to the point of causing bald patches or skin irritation. It's almost like a nervous etic, a self-soothing behavior gone too far.
So either they look like they've completely let themselves go, or they're taking their grooming to an almost self-destructive level.
That's a good way to put it, yes.
What about how they interact with us or other animals in the house? Did that change?
You might see a sudden shift in their tolerance levels. A cat that was previously pretty laid back might suddenly become more irritable.
Ah, okay. Like snapping?
Yeah, exhibiting aggression, like biting, hissing, or growling, even towards familiar faces they usually get along with. Conversely, some cats might become unusually clingy, constantly underfoot, and demanding attention.
Velcro cat.
Right. While others might become very aloof, actively avoiding any interaction, even pushing away attempts at affection.
It's like their whole relationship dynamic shifts. Wow.
You really can.
What about something as fundamental as their eating habits? Do those get affected?
Definitely. Appetite changes are a really common indicator. Some cats will show a significant decrease in their food intake when they're not feeling happy, potentially leading to noticeable weight loss.
Okay.
On the other hand, some might actually start eating more.
Like comfort eating.
Sort of, yeah. Perhaps as a way to cope with their feelings, leading to weight gain. Any persistent change in how much they're eating is something to pay attention to.
And you mentioned a red flag earlier.
Yes, absolutely. A big red flag is if a cat stops eating entirely for more than a day or two, that absolutely warrants an immediate trip to the vet. No waiting.
Absolutely. No messing around with that. Okay. Now, let's talk about the litter box, a subject that's often top of mind for cat owners.
Indeed.
Do their bathroom habits change with their mood?
Unfortunately, yes. Litter box issues are a frequent way that stress and anxiety manifest in cats.
Oh, dear.
This can include urinating or defecating outside of their designated area, what's often referred to as inappropriate elimination or house soiling. You might also notice an increased frequency of urination or even spraying, which is a territorial marking behavior often triggered by stress and is different from regular urination.
Oh, joy. Another thing to add to the worry list. So, if they're suddenly leaving little surprises outside the box, it's not necessarily just a case of feline rebellion.
Exactly. While there can be medical reasons for litter box avoidance, and those always need checking,
Of course.
emotional distress is a very significant contributing factor. Don't just assume they're being naughty.
Okay, so we've covered quite a few behavioral changes. Are there any other, perhaps more subtle signs we should be on the lookout for?
Yes, definitely. Things like a consistent drop in their overall energy levels, even when they're not actively napping, just general lethargy. You might also see a change in their usual activity patterns, for example, an outdoor cat who suddenly becomes reluctant to go outside, or maybe an indoor cat who's suddenly desperate to explore the great outdoors, maybe trying to escape something inside.
Interesting switch.
Yeah. Some stressed cats might start engaging in excessive scratching on furniture or other inappropriate surfaces, even if they have perfectly good scratching posts. And interestingly, some anxious cats will seek out new, often precarious, high places.
Like on top of the kitchen cupboards.
Exactly. Almost as if they're looking for a safe vantage point or a sense of control when they're feeling vulnerable down below.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It highlights just how crucial it is for us to really know our individual cats and what their normal baseline is.
Absolutely essential.
So if we start seeing a cluster of these changes, what could be the underlying reasons our feline friend is feeling this way? What's causing it?
Well, there's a whole spectrum of potential culprits, and often it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
Environmental changes are a big one.
Okay.
And what might seem minor to us can be a major source of stress for a cat. Moving to a new home is obviously huge.
Massive upheaval.
But even within the same home, things like new furniture, renovations, or even just rearranging their familiar resources like food and water bowls can throw them off balance.
So our attempts at sprucing up the living room might be inadvertently stressing out Mr. Whiskers.
It's definitely a possibility. Cats like predictability in their space.
Right.
Changes in their daily routines can also have a significant impact. This could be anything from a shift in their feeding times to a change in your work schedule.
Like going back to the office.
Exactly. Or even just different sleep patterns in the household. The arrival of new family members is another very common stressor.
Human or animal?
Either. Human, feline, or canine. A new baby, a new partner, a new cat, a new dog. It all disrupts the established order.
Makes sense.
And sadly, the loss of a beloved family member, whether human or another pet, can also deeply affect a cat.
Oh, of course.
They form strong bonds, and grief can manifest in ways that look like stress or low mood.
That makes perfect sense. They're part of the family fabric. What about their need for stimulation? Can boredom play a role?
Absolutely. A lack of both mental and physical stimulation can lead to boredom and frustration, which can certainly contribute to them feeling down or acting out.
So they need things to do.
Yes. Cats have natural instincts to hunt, climb, and scratch. If they don't have appropriate and consistent outlets for these behaviors, it can be really detrimental to their overall well-being.
Okay.
And, stressful living conditions are another factor. Things like overcrowding, excessive noise, or ongoing conflicts with other pets.
Especially in multi-cat households.
Yes, especially there where social dynamics can be, well, complicated. Those tensions are significant stressors.
So a house full of cats squabbling over resources in a noisy environment, that doesn't sound like a recipe for feline zen.
Not at all. Are there any underlying physical health issues that can manifest as these emotional changes?
Yes, this is a really crucial point. Underlying medical conditions can absolutely play a significant role in how a cat is behaving and feeling.
Okay, so it's not always just stress.
No, definitely not. Chronic pain from things like arthritis, dental problems, or old injuries can certainly impact their mood and activity levels. Think about it. If you're always in pain, you're not going to feel great.
True.
Hormonal imbalances, such as hyperthyroidism, can also cause significant behavioral changes, like increased anxiety or restlessness. And a whole range of other illnesses like kidney disease, gastrointestinal issues, or even something like a urinary tract infection can make them feel unwell and lead to changes in their behavior that might be mistaken for just being stressed or depressed.
Right.
Even side effects from certain medications can sometimes contribute.
So sometimes what looks like the feline blues could actually be a symptom of something physically wrong.
Precisely.
That really underscores the importance of a vet visit, doesn't it?
Absolutely critical first step. What about when we leave them alone? Do cats experience separation anxiety in a way that's similar to dogs?
Well, while it might not always look exactly the same as in dogs, cats can certainly experience distress when left alone for extended periods, especially if they have a very strong bond with their owner. This separation anxiety can manifest as stress behaviors when you're away, or even in the period leading up to your departure. They learn the cues.
Ah, the suitcase comes out.
Exactly. And finally, what about the changing seasons? Can those have an impact, like winter blues for cats?
There's some evidence to suggest that seasonal changes might affect some cats. For example, the reduced amount of natural light during the winter months could potentially impact their mood in some way, maybe similar to what we see in humans with seasonal affective disorder.
Interesting.
Also, changes in our routines during different seasons, like spending more time indoors during the winter, could indirectly affect their activity levels and behavior too.
Okay, so we've covered a pretty extensive list of potential signs and underlying causes. It's a lot to think about.
It is.
Now for the big question. What practical steps can we take to help our feline companions when they're not feeling their perfect best?
Right, the action plan. The absolute first and most important step is a visit to the veterinarian.
No surprise there.
As we've discussed, many of the signs we've talked about can also be indicators of underlying medical conditions. It's essential, really essential, to rule out any physical health issues before assuming it's purely an emotional or behavioral issue.
Makes total sense.
Your vet can do a thorough physical exam, maybe run some blood work or other tests, just to get a clear picture of your cat's overall health. Think of it as the foundation for helping them feel better.
Okay, health check first. Absolutely. Once we've gotten the all clear from the vet or are managing a condition, what's the next line of defense?
Environmental enrichment is absolutely key. We need to really think about providing outlets for their natural feline instincts.
Making their world more interesting.
Exactly. This means making sure they have plenty of good scratching posts.
Saves the furniture.
Hopefully. And climbing opportunities like cat trees or shelves so they can explore their vertical world. Cats love being up high.
True.
And a good variety of toys that encourage hunting and play. Those interactive wand toys are great. Or puzzle feeders that make them work for their treats. Mental stimulation.
So turning our living rooms into mini feline adventure parks. I like it.
Pretty much. It's also crucial to make sure they have access to safe and secure spaces where they can retreat when they feel the need.
Hideaways.
Yeah, comfortable beds, enclosed boxes, even those high perches they sometimes seek out. A place to feel safe.
And what about the basics? Food, water, litter.
Oh, absolutely critical. Maintaining clean and easily accessible litter boxes, food, and water bowls is paramount, especially in multi-cat households.
Right. Resource guarding can be stressful.
Exactly. Having multiple resources in different locations can really reduce competition and stress. And those puzzle feeders we mentioned. Fantastic for mental stimulation and warding off boredom, too.
Okay, so we're making their environment a feline paradise. Check. What about our interactions with them? Does how we behave matter?
It matters immensely. Spending quality time with your cat through gentle petting, playing, and even just talking to them in a soothing voice can make a huge difference to their emotional well-being.
Just being present.
Yes, but it's really important to respect their individual preferences for interaction, though.
Good point. Not all cats want cuddles 247.
Right. Some cats are total bugs, while others prefer a more independent existence. So gentle bonding activities, like relaxed grooming sessions if they enjoy it, or quiet playtime can be very therapeutic.
Tailored to the cat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're introducing a new pet or a new person into the household, doing it very gradually and giving your cat plenty of time and space to adjust is absolutely essential to minimize stress.
Slow and steady wins the feline friend prize. Got it. What about their daily routines? Should we be aiming for predictability?
Yes, routine and consistency can be incredibly comforting for cats. Maintaining a predictable daily schedule for things like feeding times, playtime, and even your own comings and goings can help reduce anxiety and create a sense of security in their world.
So maybe hold off on those spontaneous late-night vacuuming sessions right next to their favorite sleeping spot.
Probably a good idea. Predictability helps them feel safe.
Makes sense.
And of course, just like with us, a balanced and nutritious diet is fundamental to their overall health, both physically and mentally. Talk to your vet about the best food choices for your cat's individual needs and life stage.
Okay, so diet, routine, enrichment, our loving attention. Sounds like a pretty comprehensive approach. Are there any other tools in our arsenal, like those pheromone diffusers or calming supplements people talk about?
There are definitely some options that can be helpful as part of a broader strategy, but usually not as a standalone fix.
Okay.
Certain supplements, such as L-theanine and L-tryptophan, which are found naturally in things like green tea, have been suggested to have calming effects in some cats. Always best to discuss with your vet first, though.
Right.
Feline pheromone diffusers, like Feliway, release synthetic pheromones that mimic those produced by cats naturally. They're meant to create a sense of safety and reduce stress in their environment. Some people find them helpful. And for some cats, a little bit of catnip can provide a temporary mood boost and encourage play, although it doesn't affect all cats in the same way, and the effect is short-lived.
So like a little aromatherapy session for our feline friends, maybe with a sprinkle of playful silliness on the side.
You could think of it that way. Ultimately, the key is to try and identify and address any specific stressors that might be affecting your cat's environment and daily life. Be a bit of a detective.
And if things don't improve?
Well, if your initial efforts don't seem to be making a difference, or if the situation feels particularly complex, don't hesitate to seek guidance from a veterinary behaviorist.
A specialist?
Yes, they have specialized expertise in diagnosing and treating behavioral issues in animals and can provide really tailored strategies.
It's reassuring to know there are specialists who can help if needed. So, to bring it all together, what are the main things we should take away from our deep dive into the emotional lives of our cats today?
I think the most important thing to remember is that cats absolutely can experience changes in their mood and behavior that significantly impact their quality of life. It's real. These changes can be triggered by a wide variety of factors, both environmental and physical, as we've discussed.
Right.
Being observant and proactive in recognizing the signs early, and then diligently trying to understand and address the potential underlying causes, starting with that vet check, is absolutely crucial for their well-being and happiness.
So it really boils down to us being tuned in, empathetic cat parents, doesn't it? Really paying attention.
Exactly. You are the expert on your own cat. You know their quirks, their habits. Noticing those subtle shifts in their behavior and taking action when you see persistent changes is so vital. Don't just dismiss those little signs. They could be your cat's way of telling you that something isn't quite right in their world.
That's a great point. Listen to what their behavior is telling you.
So the next time you see your feline friend looking a little less than their usual joyful self, maybe spending more time hiding or showing less interest in their favorite activities, take a moment. Consider what might be going on beneath that furry exterior.
Pause and observe.
Yeah. Even small changes in their environment or routine can have a big impact. What little tweaks could you make to maybe bring back that sparkle and enhance their sense of security? It might be simpler than you think to make a big difference in their happiness.
And finally, I think it bears repeating. It's essential to always remember that if you have any concerns at all about your pet's health or behavior, please consult with a certified veterinarian.
Absolutely.
The information we've discussed today is really for educational purposes. It should never be considered a substitute for professional veterinary advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Your vet is your primary partner in your cat's health.